Good morning. This is Councilwoman-at-large Adrienne Wooten. I am here with Charlie Wareen. We're at the HUUB. And Charlie, what are we doing today?
Today we're starting to build the thank you. We're continuing to build our Ben Jones Community Gardens. We received a grant from the Gardens for Good, part of a grant from Gardens for Good to really help get this thing going. And the Ben Jones Community Gardens, after being kind of isolated and stuck inside for a year, trying to get back together, we thought outdoor spaces would be a really good opportunity for us to get back together safely. So we wanted to start turning the outside of our campus into a more kind of open and available resource for people, and community gardens seemed like a perfect way to do it. So over the last couple of months, we have been sort of designing it. Had some design help from a guy named Stephen Panasci, who's a local landscape architect and designer. And today we're starting to lay out the wood chips to really create a level base, and then we'll put raised beds on top of it. So we're really, just getting the foundation of the whole garden together. You asked me about Ben Jones, and so Ben Jones was the first Black elected council person in Orange. He was advocate for sort of recreational spaces, pools, the Ys, programming for kids and people and seniors, exactly. And so also Cleveland Street, where we're located, is named in honor of Ben Jones. It's Ben Jones Place, so it just seemed like a natural idea, name, and inspiration for our gardens. More things for people to do outside. We're building them right now, but hopefully in the next couple of weeks this will all be finished, and we'll start having some beds and help get people to come help plant and grow stuff, and maybe get some people to help manage it over the summer.
We spoke about Ben Jones. We know he was the first African-American council person in Orange. I think he was the first person to put a pool over at a public building, which is Walter G.
Yep.
Why was it important to name it Ben Jones? And was there any other names that you thought of? And also, I know Mindy Full of Love has kind of a relationship with Ben Jones.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Sure. So Dr. Mindy Full of Love is a member of this church, and her father was an organizer in Orange, Ernie Thompson, and he was really the campaign manager for Ben's campaign. At the same time, one of our other founding board members, Becky Doggett, who's a lifelong Orange resident and advocate and just an amazing elder in the community, was running a campaign of another African American, but unfortunately, the way Becky tells it is great, but he didn't win, and so she really got connected with local politics and advocacy around then, and ended up supporting Ben in a lot of ways, even though she wasn't for him in the beginning. And Mindy and Becky have just been, I think they've really carried on that legacy of kind of organizing, but also advocating for people in the community who haven't had voices before, right? Community's been changing, since then, over the last 60 years, and really trying to kind of lift up representation and find a place for people at the table is what they were doing, and we're still trying to do here. We had that cannabis forum that we organized together a month and a half ago, and just doing that kind of work is what we're trying to do here. Whether there were other names for the Ben Jones Garden, it just seemed like a real natural fit for it. Trying to build these resources in place for people to come together. We're building it right now. We've got a handful of people who I haven't met before, but we put out a call, and we've got a bunch more people coming in today. So it's really exciting, and seeing people come together around these kind of new resources and new places to do stuff and kind of improve the place we're living is what we're trying to do, and that seems like what Ben was trying to do, and so it seems like a natural naming of it, Yeah.
Okay. And my last question is the HUUB.
Yeah.
Why do you call it the HUUB?
Okay.
Whose idea was the HUUB?
Okay.
And what is your objective for the HUUB? And then more importantly, how can people reach out to you to help with this garden and other initiatives of the HUUB?
Great. So what's the HUUB? The HUUB, it's not an acronym, but we're at a Unitarian Universalist church. It's been here since 1890. The congregation's been in Orange since 1890. The building was finished around 1893, so 130 years of sort of legacy in the city. And Unitarian Universalism is sort of a pretty liberal faith tradition, but there are these 7 principles that I find to really be like how to be a good neighbor in a community. It's a really open and accepting faith. Hi, Eloise. Can you say hi? Hi. Yeah. And so about 10 years ago, the congregation was shrinking pretty intensely, and with 120-year legacy, you don't want to just shut down and kind of give up on that. So instead of continuing to do a traditional Saturday or Sunday parish ministry, the idea to sort of pivot to this urban ministry and bring these Unitarian principles out into the community as opposed to just focusing them on Sundays, really. Is she okay? Yeah. And so that's what we've been doing, really opening our doors and trying to fill the buildings 7 days a week instead of just focusing on Sunday mornings. And so the idea to do that was Dr. Foley Love, Mindy Foley Loves, as well as other members of the congregation, Frank Bars, Wayne Eastman and Darcy Hall. Bill Slazak's been really supportive. Becky Doggett is a member at the UU congregation of Montclair, but also a member here. So, the energy and kind of passion and hope for this to happen, it was like this kind of leap of faith. And that was almost 6 years ago now. And I think we're doing a pretty good job. We've done a lot of stuff, right? Thanks.
You hear about the hub in Newark, in Irvington, like everywhere that you go. It's amazing. My pastor, Pastor Rutherford, loves the hub, and we'll be 150 years old this year. So it's great to live in a community where you have these religious or faith-based organizations that have been here for hundreds, over 100 years. I'm glad that the hub is here. I was just telling Noel that it's a place where you have kind of like a young congregation, which is good, is good. So how do you tap into the young people? Because speaking to pastors here in Orange, they sometimes struggle with that because the older congregation tends to rule, and then you have young voices, people with newer ideas. So tell us how you...
I think it's some like legacy of other allies of ours who are organizers in Orange, and we're doing stuff with high schoolers 5 or 10 years ago. An organization called Orange Inc., which was part of Valley Arts and Hands and part of the University of Orange kind of community. They built strong relationships as a youth arts organization, and so we are lucky to be able to tap into those sort of relationships and that history. We also have built great relationships with people in the schools. Reggie Miller's just an amazing ally and friend of ours. So Principal Belton's always been a good friend. We've just connected with young people in a lot of different ways. There are a couple of young women from the STEM school here. We've been working with Principal Lima and Miss Austin, who's a biology teacher there, but in charge of their green team. So trying to connect with them around some projects and programs. It's just kind of reaching out and telling people what we're about at the schools and other sort of organizations that have young people. Debbie Rembert at Concepts and Choreography is a great ally. We've just kind of built relationships over the last 6 years. So that's how we're trying to keep that conversation going and give, young people a place to try to come, and whether it's music or art or other things they're passionate about, give them a place to try to come and hang out and sort of do what they want to do here. So that's how we've been trying to do it.
I want to say thank you from the people in the city of Orange Township, the 32,000 or 50,000 that we have. You're doing an absolutely fantastic job here. From Councilwoman Summers Johnson and I and Mayor Warren, thank you so much for hosting a fabulous cannabis community meeting here.
We had a lot of power. It was great.
It is. And thank you for when you come to the hub, you're feeling like you're part of a movement. And that's what it's all about.
That's what we're hoping.
So from me and my family to you and your hub and your family.
Thanks.
And we appreciate it. And Eloise, we really, really appreciate you. Any final thoughts?
Thank you. I mean, we're here, and we're trying to do more stuff outside, and more people come through, talk to us about what we can help with. We've got this idea of asset-based community development. We've got our buildings, but we're trying to help people provide that resource to help other people lift up their ideas and their skills and their talents. So interested to talk to anybody about sort of any ideas. orangehub.org, at Orange Hub on Instagram and Facebook, so you can find us and follow us, and that's where we're at.
There you have it. Orange,
Thanks
New
so much.
Jersey. Thank you.